ESPN is projecting another monster season for David Pastrnak, but what about his Bruins teammates? Plus, a quick update on Jeremy Swayman's contract situation.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be. Today is Monday, August 19th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Before we get started, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my hockey thoughts and dad jokes at Ian C. McLaren. I'm a lifelong Bruins fan, been covering this team for various outlets for 20 years, and have been hosting this podcast since 2019. For 5 years prior to that, I was a full-time hockey news editor at thescore.com. All right, so ESPN.com has released their projections for the 2024-25 season. It's mostly for fantasy purposes, but it gives us some insight into what experts are projecting for players. And we're going to look at forward, defense, goaltending here, and let's begin with David Pastrnak. He's coming off the season in which he played a full 82 games, had 47 goals, 63 assists for 110 points, and ESPN is projecting very similar projection, although a bit more of a balancing between goals and assists. They're projecting full health, 82 games. Of course, that is very subjective. Who knows what is going to happen, but all things being equal, once he is fully healthy, when he's fully healthy, he's one of the best players in the NHL. Now, here's what they wrote. There were concerns prior to last season that the retirement of Patrice Bergeron would result in a negative impact on Pasternak's numbers. No such luck. Yes, his goal total dropped from 61 2 seasons ago to 47 last year, but he still finished with 110 points, including a whopping 35 with the man advantage. Pasta placed 5th in the NHL in scoring, and his 382 shots trailed only Colorado's Nathan MacKinnon. Toss in the fact he's still just 28 years of age and plays for one of the better teams in the NHL, and Pastrnak will remain a no-doubt late first-round fantasy option in all formats heading into this season. ESPN's projecting 55 goals for Pasta, 57 assists, and 399 shots on goal, 37 power play points as well. 112 points would be, of course, another masterful season from David Pastrnak and nearing career highs that we saw a few years ago in that record-setting season where he had 113 in 82 games with 61 goals. Now, he has been fully healthy the last couple of years. He's only played 3 82-game seasons over the course of his career. 2 of them have come over the past 2 seasons, so let's hope that that health can remain. And again, last year he had that uptick in assists. Really think he should have gotten more love in the Hart Trophy conversation because he had 110 points, and his next closest teammate was Brad Marchand at 67. That's a 43-point difference, which is pretty significant. And all things being equal, David Pastrnak, again, should remain one of the best wingers in the NHL this season and perhaps challenge for Hart Trophy consideration once again. As far as Brad Marchand goes, they're projecting him to be the team's second highest scorer once again with 69 points in 80 games. 26 goals, 43 assists is what they are projecting for the captain. And here's what they wrote. Marchand's first season in the post-Bergeron era was solid, if unspectacular. He appeared in all 82 games with 29 goals and 67 points, numbers like we saw from him a year prior, albeit in 9 extra games. Marchand was his usual productive self with the man advantage, posting 25-plus power play points for a third straight year. He's locked into a top 6 role with Boston moving forward, but at 36 years of age and having taken a ton of physical punishment over the years, he's more of a floor option than a ceiling option from a fantasy standpoint. Not a guy that you're going to reach for, but kind of a mid-round pick if you're looking fantasy-wise. Now, again, look at that difference. 112 points for Pastrnak, 69 points for Marchand. That is a 43-point difference. You take Pastrnak off this team, the Bruins are in deep, deep trouble. And really, he should be warranting more Hart Trophy consideration. He did finish as a runner-up 2 years ago, but that was when the Bruins were stacked. The best team in NHL history in the regular season. It's not the same squad. Pasternak's carrying a much heavier load, and he should be getting more love here in that respect. What about one of the new guys, Elias Lindholm? He's coming off a season which was very down, 15 goals, 29 assists for 44 points. ESPN projecting 21 goals, 41 assists for 62 points here for Lindholm. Here's what they write. Lindholm's game has been trending in the wrong direction the past 2 years. He split last season between Calgary and Vancouver. Just 12 power play points, 44 points in 75 games. Low totals in 6 years. Clearly not deterred, though. The Bruins handed Lindholm a 7-year, $54.25 million contract on July 1. The financial commitment suggests Boston is intent on handing the Swede a massive role moving forward, although Lindholm seems unlikely to threaten the 40-goal and point-per-game marks we saw during his best years with the Flames. And this is one of the reasons why some people frowned on that contract. Maybe his best years are behind him, but maybe in the Bruins system, reinvigorated, he could, again, post 60, 70, maybe challenge for point per game here with the Bruins. Rounding out the top 5, they have Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle, pretty much replicating their productions from last season. They're projecting 60 points from Charlie Coyle once again. Although they did add Boston's signing of Lindholm could result in Coyle's numbers taking a bit of a dip, but there should still be enough production to make the 32-year-old worthy of a pretty good campaign. Zacha, they're projecting 21 goals, 39 assists for 60 points as well. Some other notables, Trent Frederick projected to have 19 goals, 43 points, and Morgan Geekie coming in at only 29 points, which would be 10 fewer than last year. So again, some of these projections can be taken with grains of salt, but again, these big guys, especially David Pastrnak, expected to have another monster season. What about goaltending and defense? We'll touch on that here as the podcast continues. We're driven by the search for better. When it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. It's to match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you quite simply need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, messaging. Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions do apply, but if you need to hire, you need Indeed. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine, free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. For your second listen, check out Locked On NHL. Locked On NHL provides you with a national perspective on all things NHL each and every day, with national experts and local insight on every team in the league. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. And I happen to be on today's episode talking with Gil Martin of Locked On Islanders about the Boston Bruins and what their summer has been like. Locked On NHL is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So what about defensemen? What is ESPN projecting for our Bruins D-men? They're projecting an uptick in production here from Charlir McAvoy. 9 goals, 42 assists for 51 points. Now that goal total might be a bit disappointing. We'd like to see him get into double digits once again, but perhaps that 50-plus point total could get him some more love when it comes to Norris Trophy voting. They write, McAvoy had a solid, if unspectacular season, finished with a career best 12 goals, 47 points in 74 games. He had just 13 points with the man advantage, but his .314 power play ice time per game was the highest to date. So he seems likely to rebound in that category this coming year. If he can, side note, keep that power play time up, if he can stay on that first unit and up that production, that's only going to help his Norris Trophy candidacy, because we know that they value those kind of high point totals to go along with strong defensive play. They continue playing for one of the best teams in the NHL. McAvoy has been a plus player all 7 years of his career, tossed in career best marks in both hits and block shots, and you have an all-around solid asset. McAvoy should again produce enough to be targeted as a low-end number 2 fantasy defender in 2024-25. Not the most ringing endorsement, not really seeing him as an elite guy along the lines of a Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, Adam Fox, Roman Josi, maybe even Rasmus Dahlin, but he's up there as one of the better defensemen in the NHL. For some other guys, they have Hampus Lindholm coming in with only 24 points, 5 goals, 19 assists, although a big uptick in shots from 99 to 136. A lot of people curious about Mason Lohrei as a potential breakout candidate. They have him playing in 72 games with 8 goals, 23 assists for 31 points. If you're in a cap league like I am, pretty good value on an entry-level contract, although I did end up flipping him in a deal for Matt Beniers. Please don't hold that against me. Elsewhere, Brandon Carlo coming in at 17 points in 77 games. Nikita Zadorov, the newcomer. They don't have any projections on him yet, but we can expect heavy hitting, perhaps some offensive contributions here and there. So the main guys to look at, of course, McAvoy. It's a very solid top 6 that the Bruins have, led by McAvoy, Carlo, Lindholm, Lohrei, Peak, Zadorov, Witherspoon as your 7th guy. None of these guys are going to blow you away with their point totals unless McAvoy really explodes. But it seems as though what we're getting from him is what to expect moving forward, which is about maybe 40 points. No, sorry, maybe 50 points. He's had as high as 56 points, 47 this past season, maybe meet in the middle again there with around 52. But we'd like to see him. He's never played a full 82-game season, and if he can get a shot rate up and increase that power play production, which took a dip last year. He had a career high 21 points 3 seasons ago, down to 13 this past season. If he can add 10 power play points, he should be pretty money. Now, what about the goaltending? Big things expected from Jeremy Swayman this season, as they have him going from 43 starts to 55 with a record of 32, 11, and 4, a 914 save percentage. Here's what they write. Once again, splitting time with Linus Ullmark a season ago, Swayman appeared in 44 games for Boston, picked up a career-high 25 wins to go along with a 2.53 goals against average and a 916 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Seeking to commit to just one option moving forward, the Bruins dealt Ullmark to Ottawa in late June. That opens the door for Swayman to serve as Boston's unquestioned number 1 for the first time in his 4-year NHL career. Swayman may not be on the same level as top-tier options like Connor Hellebuck and Igor Shesterkin, but he isn't far off. 32 wins would be a new career high for him, of course, and what's lacking at the moment is that contract. Now, if you look at what they're projecting for Joonas Korpisalo, 16 wins, 19 losses, 1 shootout loss, an 883 save percentage. I think we'll see that rise a bit. Last year, he had an 890 save percentage. This season, they're projecting that to drop to 883. That doesn't really quite make sense, but his record should improve at 16-9-1 compared to 21-26-0. If you combine those two, you're looking at roughly another 100-point season for the Boston Bruins based on these records that they're projecting for Korpisalo and for Jeremy Swayman. 55 plus 27. Yeah, so they're projecting 48 wins, 48, 20, and 25, and 5, which would be 48 times 2, plus another 10 points. That's 106 points. So those of you expecting a big drop-off for the Bruins, it might not happen. I don't think it's going to happen anyways. And I think you're going to get even better save percentage out of Joonas Korpisalo than what they are projecting here. So a fairly similar season to last year in terms of numbers for the Bruins. Pastrnak, far and away your best player. And then some good options there. Guys putting up 50, 60 plus points. Lindholm, Coyle, Zaka, Marchand to round out the top 5. We'd like to see more from Trent Frederick, Morgan Geekie, Matt Poitras. We'll see if guys like John Beecher, Max Jones can contribute as well. But fairly similar season offensively expected for this team. And Swayman carrying more of the load. What is his contract going to look like? What's the latest on that? Well, there are some updates here, and we'll discuss that as the podcast continues. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber and not cash. All the parts you need at the prices you want. Turn your car into an MVP and bring home huge wins with eBay Motors. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply, and the eBay Guaranteed Fit is available only to U.S. customers. So what is the latest on Jeremy Swayman? Well, apparently he took part in a team relay triathlon, the 2024 Columbia Threadneedle Investments Boston Triathlon. And I believe his team came in second over the weekend. So congrats to him and his team. And it's part of his training process to tap into the community and to, kind of pay it forward in terms of participating in this event and helping out the community. According to Ty Anderson of 98.5, all Swayman needs to truly be in his new home, to be in part of the community for the foreseeable future, is a new contract with the Bruins. And something that Swayman doesn't seem to have any worries about, even with no contract here as of August 19th. He says he loves it in Boston. That's all he can control. He has complete trust in his agent, and he knows that it's going to get done eventually. Swayman has been skating at Warrior Ice Arena whenever possible. And he's been working closely with Bruins head performance coach Kevin Neild, assistant performance coach Tim Labossiere, and he's also worked with some people over at Boston University as well. He said he knew that he wanted to be an elite level goalie and he needs to train all year round. And Boston has the tools to help him do that. That's something that he's been attracted to with Boston, being able to tap into the community, and more every year he feels ingrained in it. He said he's getting the proper experience, and it's all a business. It's unfortunate at times, but he knows he's going to be playing hockey at the end of the day. And again, he really hopes it's going to be with the Boston Bruins. And he was asked if he's focused on a long-term deal and avoiding a bridge contract. Swayman said that's something for his agent. Right now, he was focused on being a triathlete. But he's made it clear he can't picture himself playing anywhere other than TD Garden, than in Boston. So fingers crossed something gets done sooner than later. Really nothing to worry about quite yet. There's still a month remaining until training camp. But we would like to see that get done with, all this talk about offer sheets, all this talk about trade requests, Yaroslav Askarov requesting a trade out of Nashville. Maybe he goes to Montreal and puts those rumors to rest. Well, not even rumors, but any thought of the Canadians coming in with an offer sheet for Swayman, all that talk to rest. We just want to get a deal signed here quicker than as quick as possible, just so that we can focus on training camp and get Swayman locked in. Speaking of locked in, this has been the latest episode of Locked On Boston Bruins. For the next couple of weeks, we're going down to 3 episodes, so you can expect a new one later this week, perhaps probably on Wednesday. Please do subscribe. In the meantime, go back, check out some old episodes. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. And take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you again here on the next episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.